Hello, it's alright, it's only me. I'm back to do another film review. I've not done one for a couple of weeks, so I'm off from work today, so I've taken the dog down to Largs and everything this morning. I've had to get the afternoon to myself, Libby's away out, so I thought I'd do a wee film review. And the day I'm going to do Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Now this film, I could probably talk about it for a lot longer than I'm going to, but I'll cut it down and I'll just talk about the things that I think I need to say about it. Anybody, you need to put yourself back in the time frame. This film came out in 1984, which is 35 years ago, so it must have come out when I was about 9 or 10. And at the time, it was the second Indiana Jones film. The first one was, it wasn't even called Indiana Jones, it was called Raiders of the Lost Ark. Absolutely amazing film. I'd probably say it's one of the best action films of all time. So when this film came out, I was right looking forward to go to see it at the pictures because I thought it'd be made of the same thing. But little did I know that there was going to be a whole bunch of stuff in it that I was just going to hate. So I might as well start with that now. So let's have a look then. At the start of this film. This is how it begins. Bearing in mind, I'm a guy, I cannot stand musicals for some reason. It's just something I just don't like. I don't like musicals, and I don't like films with Wayne's in it. For some reason, it's just that thing I just don't like. This film starts like this. Here we go. We've got a woman coming out of a Chinese dragon, starting like a musical and singing a version of Cole Porter's Anything Goes in Chinese. So there we go, there's Kate Capshaw here. Absolutely crap. I remember sitting in the pictures and I was like, oh no. So wait a minute, I need to fast forward this one a wee bit because I still hate this as much as I ever hated it. This film is not totally irredeemable, but there's a whole bunch of stuff in it that just rubs me the wrong way. After that singing, dancing bit, there's a bit with some Chinese guys where it's kind of like James Bond pre-credits thing where Indiana Jones is at the arse end of some adventure that he's had and he's arguing with these Chinese guys over a diamond. He gets poisoned and stuff and there's a big barn there, the big diamond he's looking for, but then he jumps out a window. So I'm just trying to find the bit in the film for this fast forwarding that woman through her anything goes rubbish. But he gets poisoned and everything, and they end up in this quite silly bit where they jump out this window and end up going down here. And you're thinking, right, that's all the singing everyone by. This film can only go up for here. So they jump into this motor. Who's driving it? A wee guy. There's a wee guy driving the car, and that just drove me mental. I was like, oh no, Indiana Jones hasn't got a flipping wee boy sidekick, has he? So that this film, he's got this wee boy sidekick, which just, I was like, no, I hate that. If I was hated that. And then he's got the woman in it, who is Kate Capshaw, who is just, this woman's just like an annoying cipher sent to be in the film so that she can argue with Indiana Jones, and just spends the whole film being a total pain in the arse. And Steven Spielberg married Kate Capshaw after working with her on this. I don't know why. I would have never got again. I'd have never got married to somebody that played Ken, unless she must be right good actress or something. That's just the way Ken, maybe not like that in real life. But in this film, she's just the most annoying arsehole. You'd be like, when's somebody going to shoot that woman? But anyway, moving on. They end up, they have to make a run for it, and they end up in this plane, and the plane ends up, it's going to crash, and they jump out it, and they do this. It's quite a good action sequence actually, where they jump out this plane and they end up parachuting out in a kayak. So they end up with this. Here's a bit here. Well, they don't even parachute, they just fly down as the plane's going to crash, and they end up here going down on this snow, and there's a plane crashing here. and you end up going down here, which you think, hey, brilliant, no, that's a bit like James Bond. But no, they end up at the bottom of the hill, and who's at the bottom of the hill? They've ended up in something that looks, if you remember and going back to the time frame here, 1984, it's exactly like the year 1983's Octopussy by James Bond. They end up in India, and amongst these indigenous Indian folk who are presented like, I don't know what they were thinking actually, you'd never get away with it now. They're presented like pure kind of old the world manky tramps basically. And again, there he is again, the wise old village guy. So here we go, get a right annoying bit, and they end up in this, and the point of the thing is, the MacGuffin of the film is that this village here, all the wains have been taken away to work in a mine to find these things, and there's just these things in this film where it just, the dirty bits, you're just like, who put this in here? Like, Raiders of the Lost Ark was a total roller coaster ride of action, whereas in this one, they've got folk presenting stuff like this to other folk, like, I don't know what that is, fish eggs or something, but they end up eating it. And in this film, I'm going to try to speed this up a bit, because I'm going on and on and on here. I want this review to be a bit quicker. In this film, they seem to have some preoccupation with eating things that are absolutely horrible, because later on in the film, there's a bit with a banquet, and they end up, they bring out, it's like a big dead snake, and they bring this snake out, and it's like on a kind of plinth thing, so it looks as if it's still alive, and they cut open this snake, and all these live eels come out of it. And then, like, I don't know if it's a pudding or whatever, but somebody brings out hundreds of monkey heads, and they cut the tap of the heads off and eat the brains out of them, and you're like, what, none of that. And there's a bit where they have to go through this bit where there's hundreds of beasties, which also rubs me up the wrong way. And there's also a bit as well, I don't know what rating this would I go at, probably a PG, but I mean, I find this hard to think that they made this film for Wayne's, because there's a bit in it later on as well where there's a guy that they've got this thing that's guys called thuggies, and they're the ones that have got all the Waynes, and they're looking for these stains. That's the kind of MacGuffin to bring in your Indiana Jones thing, and they're trying to mine these stains for some reason. They'll get some kind of power or whatever. And there's a bit where a guy's tied up, and the head bad guy reaches into his hair and pulls his hair out while it's still beating and holds it in front of him, but the guy doesn't die, but they attach him to a cage, and then they drop him down into this, it's like a kind of, I don't know, a kind of abyss thing with hundreds of fire, and the guy goes on fire, and then he's still beating hurt, that the guy's still holding in his horn, goes on fire as well. And you're just like, wow, man, there's so many things in this that are just horrible for rubbing people up the wrong way. And the guy ends up, the guy Indiana Jones some blood to drink, and he ends up being like a bad Indiana Jones, so you can't even root for the good guys. And then at the end up, there's to go with Indiana Jones, good wee boy, there's a bad wee boy as well, and they end up fighting. The whole film's a car crash, and as good as Raiders of the Lost Ark is, the Temple of Doom is just, I still can't get into it. I see folk now saying, oh, you need to go back now, I hated it at the time, and I watched it again recently. There's nothing about this film that I really like watching at all. Again, even when the old time I put it on, I just hate it and turn it off. Our Gail said she was going to do like a thing for the school, where she was going to do an Indiana Jones film to do everybody a review, and she thought the Temple of Doom was a good one, but she got it wrong. I was like, no, it's the Raiders of the Lost Ark, so they ended up having to do the Temple of Doom, the pair buggers. So I hope they don't know if the nightmares about it anyway. But I need to go. I've been blathering on too long here about this film. which pretty much sucks. So there's no time for me to do any shaba like that guy that's going down into the hang in a cage. I will say there's a good bit with the bit where they're on the rope bridge at the end's quite good. That's quite a good action sequence. But I mean, it's nothing like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Although the next one was pretty good, with Sean Connery in it as his father, the Indiana Jones and Last Crusade. But it's still no up to Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is before the best out of the lot of them. It's an absolutely flawless film. If you're going to watch Indiana Jones, just watch Raiders of the Lost Ark. Don't bother with this one. Maybe watch the Last Crusade. Apparently there's another one coming out in the next couple of years, but we'll see what that's like with Indiana Jones being 80. Right, I'm out of here. I'll see you all later. Thanks very much for watching, and have a nice weekend. See you later.